Well, an updated design has been released for the controversial Therme spa planned for Ontario Place.
The building set to be built on the West Island is 25% smaller, which Therme explains follows community feedback about concerns over the scale. The site includes 16 acres of public land, a new beach, and cultural spaces. Therme projects it will draw 2.5 million visitors a year and 15,000 people on its busiest days.
We heard concerns from the city. We've also had programming changes that occurred when parts of when the science center came in and some of the parking was moved. It changed the way we had to create a landing pavilion. So we've been able to shrink the building without shrinking the capacity and the activities in the building. So the building's now about a third the size of the Eaton Center. It's about as tall as the Crystal at Avenue Road and Bloor attached to the ROM. It's more compact in terms of its design, but we've also, as I said, added parkland around it to as we listen to the public and incorporate their ideas.
And for reaction to the updated design, let's go live to CP24's Sijia Liu. Sijia.
Artelina, you heard some of the proposed changes being made there. Smaller building along with more green space, but is everybody buying these changes? Well, for more reaction, I'm joined by Anne Elizabeth Sampson, who is the co-chair of Ontario Place for All. And thanks so much for your time today. Now, we just heard from Therme Canada on some of the changes they're proposing. Your group has brought up some concerns over the past 2 years, whether that be traffic, environmental concerns. Do today's changes change your mind at all when it comes to the future of Ontario Place and the spa?
Well, thanks for having me. It's hard to say. I mean, we are now in a position where we need to listen very closely to what Therme, the company, and Infrastructure Ontario announced. And the reason I point that out is because originally we had plans and drawings, thanks to them being involved in the city process to try to get feedback and approvals for their development application. But because the province has removed the project from any sort of public engagement or oversight, what we get here are these renderings, statements from the company and other marketing materials tell us what they're doing. Now, the building itself is smaller. It's hard to know that from the first to the second iteration of the building, they shrunk the size by lowering the ceiling heights. It does look like they've made the footprint a little bit smaller, but let's keep in mind this is still an enormous building. It's still at 15 stories high, dwarfing everything around it, and going to take up the entire West Island of Ontario Place and be surrounded by a path, a concrete path.
And another change that Therme Canada says they're doing is adding that public space, 16 acres that kind of go around the building, which will include a beach, a park. Do you feel like this is enough public space for Torontonians to enjoy along the waterfront?
Well, no. I mean, Ontario Place for All is a grassroots group, and we've been advocating for the entire space to be public and accessible to the public. So in that case, no. And also the 16 acres that they're talking about is not new. That was part of the original plan. It's, the main new thing, as far as I can tell, is that they're changing it from calling it public realm, which would be privately owned public space, so operated by a private company but accessible to the public. And now they're trying to call it parkland, which would be administered, say, by the city.
And now that we're getting some more information on what this would look like, including the HD renderings, what would still be some of your main concerns?
I think our main concerns continue to be the size and scale of the project, the monetization of what is our public shared asset, and our tax dollars going to build a tourist attraction in downtown Toronto, in addition to the impact on its environment, not just the kind of environment of the lake and the loss of trees, but the traffic and the inconvenience and the challenge of having an attraction down there that will have that many people. In addition, a couple of weeks ago, the premier announced a new enormous parking garage right on the lake in order to serve the site, which will break it up. It will not be a continuous waterfront that we have down there. We won't be able to see anything on Ontario Place because of the size of the parking garage. So, and fundamentally, this project continues to be something that is designed by people and sort of forced on the people of Ontario. So it's being done in secret. It's being decided by somebody that's not us, the people. And we continue to believe that the best future Ontario Place would be one that we co-created by the people who are going to use it and benefit from it in the long run.
Anne Elizabeth Sampson with Ontario Place for All. Thanks so much for your time today and your reaction.
Thanks for having me.
And just one more thing to note, Therme Canada says that the admission fees for the future spa and water park will be starting around $40. But Lena Arter, that price could go up with inflation by the time the spa actually opens.
Sijia, thank you so much for this. We appreciate it.